So, alright, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. We say the man is a person that Allah is a great most honor, who will teach us a person the truth. And we see salutations, so the Akim must say push with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season and season with Shalom. And once again, going into our video here, and this basically touching upon this. There's some news, right? And as you can see, it say food shortage looms. Right, and I did a couple of past videos going into food shortages, going into famines, right? But this you see, Jake don't have they don't have an idea. They are not prepared, I should say. They are not prepared for what's coming, because they might think when this food shortage hit, they will think that is the only thing, not knowing it have many more that's on its way or is already happening. They don't have a clue. They are not prepared. Right? They don't know how to face these things, because there's war, right? There's food shortages, there's famines, there's pestilence, there's so much of things happening they're speaking right now. There's so much of things happening all around the world, happening right in their own country. But their main focus is on things that not going to help them. You know, if you ask them what or showing on TV, or the latest movie, or something along those lines, or carnival, or they're preparing for Christmas and all these things. Yeah, that is what they focus on. But to tell them to know these kind of things, nah, they don't have a clue. Matter of fact, they don't believe that these things will not happen, right? Because when they mention it, they'll be like, nah, we have food for days, we have food for years, right? And that would also go into my next video. I have a next video to do on the same food shortage, but it's going into a farmer talking about if any disaster is to happen, the world only has 63 days of food to last, and every single month or every single you give a particular time period that it gets shorter, right? So going into this article here. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring a script here before I go into the article, right? Let me go to the book of 2nd Ezra. Let me go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, right, verse 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true, right? For they are faithful and true. And all these things that are mentioned in the scriptures, whether it be the wars, the famines, the pestilence, right? The earthquakes and many other things that are mentioned to happen, it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen, whether you believe or you ain't believe. It's going to take place, and every single day, every single week, every single month, it's going to get worse, right? It's going to get worse. That's the reason why when you're watching news, a newspaper, a news page, whatever it may be that your source of information has come from, like 80% or 85% of it is some sort of chaos happening around the world, or some sort of evil is taking place, right? So even in this article here, this article can basically used for two things, because it's talking about forex pressure for wholesalers, right? Of that would go into and that might be another video that I have to do as well. And I did one recently, but to do another one again, because it recently popped back up. It recently popped back up again as a topic, right? Is a cashless society, which eventually that is going to lead into what? To the MOTB, right? And forex and these digital currencies, other currencies, I should say, have to deal with these things. This government here is basically talking about going full digital, and at the beginning of 2025, they said that they want to be already halfway through it or something along those lines, right? So you can see what we're heading into. But nonetheless, going back into the article here, it says forex pressure for wholesalers, TNT to brace for food shortages, rise in prices. Now this person here, call him, but no, this You know, just like any other government in the world, it's just wicked men, right? You know, they have continued to raise prices and put people on a strain, right? But as he's saying here, TNT to brace for food shortages and rising prices, right? So just imagine food shortages, going to have a famine, and the prices of the goods, what is here is going to be more expensive, right? It said Trinidad and Tobago could be facing a shortage of basic food items as wholesalers who import the majority of those goods have been unable to access foreign exchange from the Exim Bank in 2 months. They are therefore calling on Finance Minister Colin Burt and Acting Prime Minister Stuart Young to take immediate action and resolve the critical issue. Close to a dozen businessmen reached out to the Sunday Express yesterday, lamenting that some of them are already being blacklisted by foreign suppliers, thereby blocking some imports. They requested anonymity to avoid facing any backlash in their attempts to get U.S. currency. One supplier, who's collectively owed about US 10 million from several businessmen, recently visited Trinidad and made desperate attempts to speak to the banks and authorities in vain. Now, all this is happening because, now, you could watch this, but all this is happening because of the system that they want to do. Our government is forcing certain things, so because they literally want to bring in a digital system. They want to kill that dollar, right? It said the businessmen who import the country's basic food items such as potatoes, rice, onions, garlic, oil, sugar, saltfish, smoked herring, pigtail, peas, and beans are warning the shortages will lead to a major spike in price of those commodities. So as you can see, it is basically talk about, you know, like this basic items, potatoes, rice. These are things that you can live off of. You don't have to even eat that with anything, right? You eat that just so and you would survive, and this is going to have a shortage of that. And a shortage, let me bring a scripture here, right? Right? Let's bring a scripture here. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 5. Right? Same 2nd Ezra 15. It said, "Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. The sword, famine, death, and destruction," and that is what being sent. Right? But it's a famine. It's a the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So when you look up the word famine, right? Let's go and do a quick Google search. It's a famine. It's a extreme scarcity of food, right? Extreme scarcity of food, or a shortage of something, right? Or a shortage of something. This is basically going into that here. And Trinidad is not only the only place that shortages are being mentioned. You're hearing about that in America, Europe, and many other places. I believe it's Japan or China. They themselves was recently speaking about it. So you're seeing, right, and hearing about the famines, right? So you say, "Behold, said the Lord, I'll bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness are exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Right? So as it says, smoke hair and pigtail, because Jake loved the pork, oil, sugar, saltfish, smoke herring, pigtail, peas, and beans are warning that the shortages will lead to a major spike in the price of these commodities. They express alarm and frustration that foreign car dealers are able to obtain forex to import thousands of vehicles, and so too major private companies. But they are being turned away from both the local banks and Exim Bank, because again, they know how to affect a man. You don't need a car, right? But you need food, and affecting people ability to eat, right? They would have to turn to anything that they bring. A man that's starving, he would accept anything. He might eat shit and all if once a man going through a famine, right? To say, but they are being turned away from both local banks. And this is all a plan from them. This is the same thing they've been doing in other countries around the world, right? And when they do finalize certain things, the basic is just basically going into a cashless system and a cashless society, right? It said businessmen say the Exim Bank indicated it is waiting on finance ministry to release funds, and some arrangement has not yet been renewed. It's a climate change world conflict. Right now, we right now. So this is obviously when I read this piece, you would understand this is how Trinidadians speak. Right? They say right now we really struggling. We have suppliers threatening to not sell us goods. We have a couple shipments which are on the way. Right? So you see, climate change and world conflict. Right? And all these things were mentioned by the Lord. So you see, for nations are rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Let me go up, sorry. Verse 6. You see, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? That is world conflict. That is one thing by itself. Now we read an article here which goes into like 3 to 4 different things. The wars and rumors of wars. We're reading about the forex and the currency changes, and we're reading about famine, right? All these things are happening at the same time. And one is playing off the other. So it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So all these things here, climate change, world conflict, right? Famine, the cashless society, all these things have to happen, but the end is not yet, right? It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, because I did a video a little while back going into how they was talking about climate change affecting farmers all around the world and bringing in shortages, right? And so you see, famines is happening all over, and our country has become dependent on America to deliver certain things to us, and they themselves are going through basically something similar, right? So it's a right now we're really struggling. We have suppliers threatening to not sell us goods. We have a couple shipments which are on the way, some of which we have to pay for when it lands here, or else they won't release it. So it's stressful for us. I don't know where we're going to get funds from, to the businessman. And just like this, the government have them in a bag, because whatever it is the government bring now, they would have to take, right? He said the demand to pay suppliers have also impacted the black market, where they pay up to $8 for $1 because there simply is not enough to pay millions in invoice owed. Sorry. It is so much in demand, so we cannot get forex, whether internally or externally, to pay for shipments. I spoke to probably about 75 to 80% of businesses, and they are all facing the same problems. He added, yes, so it's come like a growing pain here, because there are many businesses talking about it, right, and problems they're facing, but we have to understand that of what it is they want to do. That US dollar you are mentioning, that is about to be done away with, because everything is going to be digital, right? You see, I'm actually owing a supplier right now in Guyana for rice, and they're not shipping because I don't have the US to pay them for the previous shipping. I owe this one supplier upwards of US 100,000. That is just one person. I owe a couple million US dollars to foreign suppliers, said the businessman. He explained that at the present, the cost of import food is already seeing increase because of global factors such as climate change and world conflict. And we now reading the signs, right? The wars, the rumors of the wars, right? The famines, the earthquakes, the pestilences, all these things take place, because even underneath the lockdown, they was talking about food that remain in ships that spoil, right? All these things take a toll, right? So you say in verse 8, it say, and these are the beginning of sorrow. So all these is just the beginning, because these things you don't mention here, the world conflict, the food shortages, the dollar, all these things going to get worse. It's going to get worse, way worse, as a matter of fact, right? Way worse. And this is the times that we are in, right? And these things are mentioned from the Lord. So don't feel they're going to get away, because let me tell you one thing about Jake on the whole is that they like to eat. They love to stuff the belly. So you know how they're going to operate when food prices raise? Because right now it's tough. Hard to get work. Pay small. prices on item, the inflation, hyperinflation, all these things. Yo, you're setting up for a great scheme, right? But you see Jake. Hey, Jake's still in the mindset that things still good. And eventually they're going to get a rude awakening, right? So with that, we give all praises and glory to Yehovah, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakodash. We sit down as apostles and elders of great and a reward of teachers of apostles in the truth. And we see salutations, so the arguments to push with our truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season and season. We say, Shalom.